fantasy. My name is Priya. I'm 21, and this is the story of one of the most unexpected and complicated days of my relationship with my boyfriend, Lalit. Lalit and I had been together for a long time. We were young, but we knew each other incredibly well. We laughed together, argued over silly things, made up quickly, and were always looking for new ways to keep our relationship exciting. Lalit was 21 too, 5'8", dusky, fit, and confident. I was 5'4", and people often described me as cheerful and expressive. Our relationship was built on trust, and sometimes our conversations became playful fantasies. One evening, while Lalit and I were chatting privately, he unexpectedly brought up the idea of me flirting with someone else. I stared at my phone. Are you actually serious? Maybe. What if it was just a fantasy? I laughed nervously. You have some strange ideas, and you secretly enjoy them. I didn't answer immediately. The truth was, the idea made me curious. Not because I wanted to replace Lalit, but because there was something exciting about exploring an imaginary situation together. That night, our conversation became more intense and playful than usual. Eventually, we started laughing about how ridiculous our fantasy sounded, but neither of us completely forgot about it. A few weeks later, Lalit brought it up again. This time, we seriously discussed who could possibly become part of our little fantasy. After a long conversation, one name kept coming up. Kamal. Kamal was Lalit's close friend. He was also 21, handsome, single, and lived with his mother. He was generally respectful and easygoing, although Lalit always joked that Kamal had a mischievous side. Months passed. Then came the rainy afternoon that changed everything. The rain. One evening, Lalit and I were relaxing together when heavy rain suddenly started outside. The sound of rain hitting the windows filled the room. Lalit looked at me. There was a strange little smile on his face. Lalit? Babe. I immediately knew that expression. What? I think today is the perfect day. I raised an eyebrow. For what? He leaned closer. Lalit, our little fantasy. I stared at him. Then I laughed. You're unbelievable. Kamal is home alone. I looked toward the window. The rain was getting heavier. For several seconds, neither of us said anything. Then I smiled. Fine, but we're only playing around. Of course. That was the agreement. Nothing was supposed to happen without my choice. I took my scooter and headed out into the rain. Within minutes, I was completely soaked. My hair was dripping. My clothes were wet, and I could barely keep my eyes open because of the rain. I eventually stopped near Kamal's home and called him. Priya, hey bro, where are you? Kamal. At home. Why? I'm stuck near your house. It's raining like crazy. Can I come inside until it stops? Of course. Come over. When I arrived, Kamal was already waiting at the gate with an umbrella. He looked at me and immediately burst out laughing. Ari, you're completely soaked. Look at the rain. What else was I supposed to do? Come inside before you catch a cold. He quickly opened the door. Kamal's house. Everything initially felt completely normal. Kamal handed me a towel. Dry yourself first. Thanks. I looked at my wet clothes. Kamal, do you have anything dry I can wear? He thought for a moment. Yeah. Wait. He returned with a loose white t-shirt and a pair of shorts. These should fit. Hopefully. I smiled and went into his room to change. But there was one more part of our plan. I quietly video called Lalit and placed the phone somewhere discreet where he could see what was happening without being noticed. Everything okay? Nervous? A little. You can stop anytime. That sentence made me smile. I know. I changed into Kamal's clothes and left my wet clothes neatly on a chair. Then I took a deep breath and walked outside. A different look. Kamal was standing near the living room when he saw me. For a moment, he became unusually quiet. I noticed. He noticed that I noticed. What? Nothing. You're staring. He immediately looked away. I'm not. I laughed. Sure. My wet hair had soaked the collar of the oversized shirt, and I looked completely different from how I normally did. Kamal tried very hard to behave normally. Kamal, you should dry your hair. He disappeared into the room and returned with a hairdryer. Here. Thanks. I sat on the sofa. After a moment, I looked at him. Actually, can you help me? With what? My hair. I'm tired. He hesitated. Okay. He stood behind me and carefully started drying my hair. For a few minutes, neither of us spoke. The only sounds were the hairdryer and the rain outside. Then I smiled. You're surprisingly good at this, Kamal. I have experience. With girls? He immediately stopped. No, with burst out laughing. I burst out laughing. Relax. He started laughing too. The awkwardness disappeared, but something had changed. There was a new awareness between us. The massage. After a while, I touched my forehead. My head hurts. Kamal looked concerned. Because of the rain? Probably. Wait. He went to the kitchen and returned with a small bottle of warm oil. My mother uses this for headaches. Can you massage my head? He looked surprised. Yes, unless you're scared. He smiled. I'm not scared. I sat down. Kamal gently massaged my scalp. I closed my eyes. The warmth of his hands, the sound of rain, and the quiet room created an unexpectedly peaceful atmosphere. That actually feels really good. Told you. Your hands are magical. He laughed. I massage my mother's head sometimes. It's nothing special. I opened my eyes. He was standing very close. For a moment, we looked at each other. Neither of us said anything. Then I looked away. I could feel my heartbeat getting faster. And somewhere across town, Lalit was watching the entire situation through the phone. The game begins. I eventually stood up. Can you massage my shoulders too? Kamal hesitated. Are you sure? I nodded. Yes. He carefully placed his hands on my shoulders. The massage was gentle, nothing inappropriate, but the atmosphere was becoming increasingly complicated. Kamal was trying to behave like a good friend. I was deliberately testing the boundaries of our fantasy, and Lalit was silently watching from his phone. I smiled to myself. You're really good at this. Maybe I should start charging. How much? 1 cup of tea. I laughed. Deal. He continued massaging my shoulders. Then suddenly he stopped. Why did you stop? Because I'm beginning to think you're enjoying teasing me. My eyes widened. What makes you think that? He gave me a knowing smile. Your face. I couldn't help laughing. He had finally realized that something was going on. Kamal stepped away. Priya, can I ask you something? My smile disappeared. What? Why are you acting different today? I froze. For a second, I didn't know what to say. Then I decided to be honest without revealing everything. Maybe I'm just having fun. With me? I nodded slightly. He looked at me. You know you're my friend's girlfriend, right? I know. And Lalit would kill me if he misunderstood something. I smiled. Maybe he wouldn't. Kamal's expression changed. What does that mean? I looked directly at him. Priya, it means you shouldn't assume everything is what it looks like. He stared at me. The room suddenly felt much quieter. Outside, the rain continued. The truth. Eventually, I couldn't keep the secret anymore. I picked up my phone. Kamal's eyes followed it. Then Lalit's voice suddenly came through the speaker. Hey, Kamal! Kamal nearly jumped. What? I burst out laughing. I'm sorry. Kamal stared at me in disbelief. Kamal, you were recording this? Not exactly. Lalit laughed from the phone. Bro, relax. Kamal looked between me and the phone. Then realization hit him. You two planned this? I nodded. It was supposed to be our little fantasy. Kamal covered his face. Oh my god, Lalit laughed harder. Don't worry, nobody's angry. Kamal looked at me. You seriously planned all this? I smiled. Maybe. He shook his head. You are both crazy. A new kind of tension. After the surprise wore off, everything became strangely comfortable again. We sat together and talked. Lalit stayed connected through the phone. Kamal kept making jokes about how he had unknowingly walked into the most complicated situation of his life. Eventually, he looked at me. Kamal, so what exactly was the plan? I glanced at Lalit's phone. Honestly, we didn't know. Lalit answered immediately. Lalit, exactly. Kamal laughed. So you dragged me into your fantasy without even knowing how it would end? Pretty much. He shook his head. You two are impossible. Then he smiled, and for the first time that evening, I saw something different in his expression. Not just attraction, curiosity, maybe even affection. I realized that our silly fantasy had created something none of us had expected. A genuine emotional tension between 3 people who had always thought they understood each other. The rain stops. After nearly an hour, the rain finally became lighter. I stood near the window. Priya, looks like I should go. Kamal looked disappointed for half a second before hiding it. Yeah, you should probably get home safely. I turned around. Thank you. For what? I smiled. For playing along. He smiled back. Anytime. Then he added, Kamal, but next time, please don't arrive looking like you've just escaped from a monsoon movie. I laughed. No promises. I picked up my wet clothes and prepared to leave. Before walking out, I looked at him one last time. There was a strange silence between us. Neither of us moved. Then Kamal smiled. I smiled back, and that was enough. The ride home. On the way home, Lalit called me directly. So? So what? Was our fantasy everything you expected? I laughed. It was completely different from what I imagined. Good, different? I thought about Kamal's nervous smile, his jokes, the rain, the awkward moments, and the strange chemistry that had developed. Very good, different. There was a pause. Then were you thinking about him? I smiled. Maybe a little. Seriously? You were the one who suggested it. He laughed. Fair point. I looked at the rainy road ahead. That afternoon had started as nothing more than a fantasy between two people who loved experimenting with their relationship. But sometimes fantasies don't stay exactly where you put them. Sometimes they reveal feelings you didn't know were there. And sometimes, on a rainy afternoon, a simple visit to a friend's house can change the way three people see each other forever. As I reached home, my phone buzzed. A message from Kamal. Kamal, next time, bring an umbrella. I smiled. Then another message arrived. Kamal, and don't blame me if Lalit gets jealous.